My name is Oyeyemi, currently the Farm Operations Manager at 5KGE Farms. Our rearing facilities can accommodate as much as thousands of birds, and our birds are being sourced from reputable hatcheries that are located around the southwest axis of Nigeria. And the birds are welcome with glad tidings, and they are placed on normal and appropriate medication for their growth and development. The number one specific measure is keen observations. So for a successful poultry industry or for a successful poultry husbandry, keen observation is a key in the success of any poultry industry, because these birds in particular, they don't talk, they don't tell you what they want, they express it through their behavior. A stockman in charge of poultry birds has to understand the animal behavior, the behavior of those birds, and attend to them accurately. I can tell you that observation is the key in ensuring the success of poultry husbandry. At what point are we going to refer them to as point of cage? Because some of these birds are already being reared in the cages, so from DOC, while some are placed on deep litter system. For us to regard them as a point of cage, they have to weigh 1,000 grams on the average. Keen observation is the key, because before any bird could come down to any type of disease, they will have displayed the symptoms. The symptoms are meant for us to understand, to know that these birds need this particular response. Also, secondly, biosecurity is a great factor that needs to be considered in any rearing facilities. Adhering strictly to the biosecurity measures of the farm. By this, I can assure you that the birds will be saved from any future occurrence or future outbreak of diseases. Yeah, at 5KGE Farms here, we give priority to all feed ingredients we use in producing feed. From maize to the soybean meal, or the concentrate, the wheat offer, we give priority to all of them. Just like we all know that a larger percentage of the ingredients used in feed production are the maize. We give much attention to all the feed ingredients, and most specifically the maize, as being the chief source of energy in the poultry diet. Each category of birds at different stage of growth, they have their nutrient requirements. We have the standard we follow as a feed miller, so you have to know the nutrient requirement of different class of birds at their different stage of growth. This knowledge in our mind, so we put together our feed ingredients and resources to meet the standard nutrient requirement of those birds through thorough feed milling production. Ordinarily, or the equipment being used in feed production, from the crusher, from the hammer mill, the mixer, the motor, the conveyor, the output from technology. So also the innovation behind, or the innovation I would like to include is just that. So at 5KGE Farm, we have a software we used in designing our feed. We use this software to meet the target of these birds. Once we know the nutrient requirement of the bird at mind, putting in some ingredients together, this software will tell us that if you mix this particular kg of a particular ingredient with this kg, you are going to arrive at this particular nutrient. We have the software that gives us how we do our calculation. We don't use manual calculation, we use software calculation. The maize we use majorly, they are being sourced within Nigeria, because based on the embargo placed by the federal government on maize importation, so we have to locally source for maize around our Nigeria axis, throughout the Nigeria as a whole. And these maize are being sourced from reputable sources, and for them getting to the farm, make sure that we ascertain their quality through some facilities we have. For example, we have the moisture analyzer that detects the moisture content contained in the maize. It meets our requirements, our moisture requirements, we accept. Once it is not, we reject. We have some facilities that we put in place to ensure that the feed we produce, they meet the normal standard. For example, is the moisture analyzer I talked about. At the same time, these feed are being subjected to further lab analysis to ascertain the nutrient requirements contained in that feed, in line with the nutrient requirements needed by the animal, the class of animal we are giving it to. Once the birds are in cages, if they are birds in cages before lay, we actually monitor their performance through weekly weighing. We weigh the birds every week and to ascertain their weight. So we know that the weight we get this week, it will be the same with what we are expecting next week. Using the differences, we can know if the birds are performing well or they are not performing well through monitoring of their weight before lay. But after lay, we can easily deduce that by their production. It is expected that the production of birds has to be increases as their growth increases. So once there is a default in the process of egg production, you know that something is actually wrong. Birds on laying or birds that are currently in lay, we can deduce their production performance through their production ability. I can say the main challenge we do face as a poultry farmer is let me say the weather and climate, because this is far beyond our control. But as a animal scientist, what we try to do is that we work on those things that we can control. For example, during the harsh weather, there is an implication on the bird's performance. During cold weather, there is an implication on bird's performance. So what we do as a stockman is that we try to improve our own system in terms of the nutrient requirement of that feed. It is either we add more to meet the environmental demand, or we reduce to meet the environmental demand, or we supplement with some environmental friendly materials, just like the electrolytes and the vitamin. The weather is the most tasking challenge we face so far throughout the production cycle. What I enjoyed most is just the being challenging and being tasking. So ability to meet up with the challenges and the task ahead comes with a good joy and a bountiful output. At 5KGE Farms, we have several people, home and overseas, to invest in agriculture while maintaining their existing jobs. At the same time, put their mind at rest, as we are a brand they can trust. For more information, you can follow our WhatsApp channel and newsletter for details, information about what we do and how we do it here. Thank you.